You are welcome to class. This is business law. You should know that the purpose of business law in your profession is to get you familiar with the law regulating your business environment. So we have this table of content. We have number one. These are the topics we are going to deal with. We have sources of Nigerian law. We have organization and function of the courts. We have number 3, forms of liability. Number 4, law of contracts. Number 5, law of agency. Number 6, sale of goods. Number 7, hire, purchase and equipment leasing. Number 8, law of employment. Number 9, law of insurance. Number 10, company law. Number 11, law of partnership. Number 12, law of banking and negotiable instruments. And then number 13, we have law of trust. So these are the topics. So let us go into the first topic, which has to do with sources of Nigerian law. We have sources of Nigerian law. This is chapter 1. We have sources of Nigerian law are divided. The sources are divided into 2. We have the primary or principal or primary sources. Under principal or primary sources, we have received English law, we have Nigerian legislation, and we have a customary law. Then under subsidiary or secondary sources, we have textbooks and law report. We have judicial precedents, and also we have international obligation. So let us look at received English law. Received English law, based on what is here, the received English law is very important where it has to do with sources of Nigerian law. It's a law that came into existence in Nigeria through the process or administration of the colonial master. So as I put on here, the received English law remain an important source of Nigerian law because of Nigerian colonial heritage, as English law was introduced into the different parts of Nigeria following the establishment of British colonial administration in the 19th century. The received English law was introduced into the colony of Lagos by Ordinance number 3 of 1863. So that was the reason why the English law was introduced into every part of Nigeria. So the court were mandated to make use of English law to administer justice. So that was how English law came into Nigeria. It was brought. That is why the word says received English law. So it was brought, received from Englishman country into Nigeria. So that is why it is called received English law. We received it when the colonial master came. They came with their law, and all courts in Nigeria were mandated to make use of English law to administer justice. We have different type of we have 3 types of received English law. We have common law, which we are going to examine later. Common law. We have number 2, doctrine of equity. And we have number 3, status of general application. Status of general application. So these are the 3 branches of received English law. So let us look at each of them. So we have what we call common law. Common law, based on what is written here, is used to describe law peculiar to the people of England. So it has to do with their way of life. It's peculiar to the people of England. it talk about their way of life, what they believe. So it also talk about their culture, what they are, what they hold on to right from the beginning. So that is common law. Common law is so peculiar to the people of England. So it is common to the people of England. So it covers what they believe and all areas of their lives. That's why I say here that the term common law is used in several senses, but as a principle, or as a principal source of Nigerian law, it means the law developed by the old common law court. So it was developed by the old common law court of England. The common law, the court of England is known as King Bench, or court of common plea, or court of exchequer. So that was the court that developed common law. So we have characteristics of common law. Number one is that the common law is not a written law. Number one, okay, common law is not a written law. Why is not a written law? Is because the law is not made by the parliament, so it's not written. So it is the law that has been handed over from one generation to another. And also it is a case law. It is a case law means that it is law that is empowered by decided cases. So it is a case law. It is being empowered. It is made to function to spread all over England because of by a decision of the court. So that is why it is known as case law. And where a court makes a decision using customary law, so any other court that want to make decision on so related matter in the future, we have to depend or rely, and that is what bring about judicial precedent, rely on the earlier decision of the first court. So it is a case law means that it is developed by decision of the courts. And also another thing is that common law is rigid. So it is a rigid law. So what do you mean by it is a rigid law? Means that it is very hard to amend. So it is very hard to change because it has become part of the people. Right. Another characteristic of common law is that it is a complete system. It is regarded a complete system means that it's having is able to give answers to so many questions. So it is a complete system means it covers all areas of issues. So in England, all matters. So it is the law that is having answers to so many questions of life. So that is why it is regarded as a complete system. So these are the characteristics of common law. Let us look at the second one, which is doctrine of equity. Equity has to do with fairness. So that is why this place says the ordinary meaning of equity is natural justice, which has to do with equality. It has to do with fairness. So it also has to do with good conscience. Equity was introduced into England because of the position or the rigidity of common law. So there was a lot of complaint to the king then concerning common law. So that common law was not having, was not accommodating, was not flexible enough to listen to people, to be able to distinguish between issues, different issues and matters. So because of that, another court was established known as Court of Equity, or Court of Chancery, to make use of equity to determine matters. So it then means that in England, where someone was not satisfied about the decision of the common law court or the court of the King's Bench, that court is also known as Court of Exchequer, Court of Common Pleas. So the person was allowed then to come to the Court of Equity, that is Court of Chancery. So that means to appeal or to bring his matter to the Court of Chancery, that is Court of Equity, and whatever Court of Equity or Court of Chancery, whatever decision the court will make, that will not be the final decision. So that means that the king then placed the Court of Equity above common law. So that was what was happening in England then. So, but the Judicature Act of 1873 to 1875 combined the administration of common law court and that of equity. So it means that the administration became one. So where one gets to court as at that time, you see that depends on the type of matter. So the court may decide to use either common law or equity to decide his case. So that was then. And let us look at what we call maxim of equity. Those are the maxim means the terms used to describe the function of equity. So we used to say that equity follows the law. Then we have number 2. Delay defeat equity. Then we have number 3. Equity is equality. Then we have another one. He who comes to equity must come with clean hands. Then another one is equity will not allow a wrong to be suffered without remedy. Suffered without remedy. So these are the terms used to describe what equity is all about. So he talked about the beauty of equity, he talked about the acceptance of equity. So that is all these signifies. So equity follows the law means that equity will only come to assist you after you must have been to the common law court. So that is, and you are not satisfied, the equity will not come in. Equity is only following the law. It's not at the front. The law is at the front. Number 2, delay defeat equity. It means that if you have been to the common law court and you have an issue, you are not satisfied, you quickly come to the Court of Equity. If you delay, then the decision of the Court of Common Law will be carried, will be executed on you. Then also number 3, equity is equality, means everybody equity and treat everybody equally. Then number 4, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. That means that if you want to come to equity for equity to support, assist you, then you must be innocent. Then also equity will not allow a wrong to be suffered without a remedy. So where you suffer wrong, equity is there to give you remedy. So those are the things that brings the points that bring about the beauty of equity over and above common law. Then let us look at characteristic of equity. We have a lot of characteristics of equity. Equity also is not a written